Last night, my wife's boss from her brand new job invited us over for dinner. On the drive over, my wife reiterated many times to me just how important it was to make a good impression. I scoffed and arrogantly informed my silly wife that I always make good impressions. My wife's boss is a single lady in her 50s, so it was just the three of us. We chit-chatted over drinks and salads and seemed to really be hitting it off. She laughed at my well-timed, perfectly appropriate jokes and my wife seemed pleased. Soon she brought out the main course, a nice big juicy steak for each of us. As I began to cut into my steak, I was discouraged to discover how undercooked this steak was. Now, I've had my fair share of rare steak. I prefer medium, but I can handle rare. This was several minutes on a hot grill short of rare. I probably could have resuscitated the cow had I tried. Instead, I sat there fidgeting with my knife and fork, worrying about how I was going to get away with not eating this steak. Claim veganism. No, I'd already feigned great enthusiasm upon seeing the steak. Just then, our hostess excused herself to the kitchen to take care of some dessert preparations. As I looked across the fancy dining room table at the open window of this third-story apartment, a cartoon light bulb appeared over my head. I knew I had to be decisive. Realizing that she could return at any moment, I committed. I grabbed the steak with my hand, gently shook off the juice and executed a perfect throw right through the center of the open window. Here's the big time foo. The window wasn't open. It was the cleanest freaking window you've ever seen in your life. That is, until my mostly raw slab of steak slammed up against it and slowly slid down, leaving a trail of bloody juice in its wake. My wife, whose steak was a nice medium rare and was unaware of my predicament, turned, jaw dropped, and stared at me like I was an alien from another planet. This look then slowly morphed into more of a "there is no place on this planet you can ever hide from me" expression of demonic anger. My wife's boss heard the thud of the steak on window impact and came quickly. She took in the scene, the steak sitting on the windowsill, the blood trail, my empty plate, and then gave me an inquisitive, puzzled look. I just didn't know what to say. It felt like a minute of silence, but was probably 3 or 4 seconds. Finally, the best I could manage was "I'm so sorry. I am such a klutz. I don't know. I was just cutting it. And it slipped. Just ask my wife. I really am a klutz. Right, honey? No help coming from that direction. I will clean this up. I can't believe this. I am so sorry, etc. etc. Both women continued to stare at me like I had escaped from the loony bin, as I smeared the blood around the window with my cloth napkin, dusted off the steak, and continued to mutter my incoherent explanation. I knew no one was buying the story. I knew what I had to do. I sheepishly returned to my seat and proceeded to eat every bite of that disgusting, cold, chewy, bloody, raw steak. I remained pretty quiet the rest of the evening. My wife's only 2 words to me since the incident are "I'm fine." Okay, so this just happened earlier today and is probably the single most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me. I had a text yesterday saying that my landlord was coming round sometime in the day. Today, I got really high and completely forgot about this text and was cooking naked in my kitchen. Anyway, I had music on, but I am unsure whether he actually knocked or not. Anyway, he keyed himself into my apartment and began conducting a flat viewing with a potential future enter. They were already in the corridor and there was no time to run to my room or the bathroom or find any clothes. There is a tiny room at the back of my kitchen, and so my only option before they entered the kitchen was to hide myself in the room. I bent down, still fully naked, and was going to just wait out the viewing. In my dumb stoned mind, I thought this was the best option. No way they'd open this tiny closet room where I keep my Hoover. I'm still kicking myself. They open the door and I don't even look at either of them. I just completely bolt to my bedroom door, shut it. And I haven't actually left my room since out of sheer shame. I didn't even say anything to make it less awkward. WTF was I going to say? I don't know how else I could have handled this situation, but I honestly think I made it so much worse than it had to be. What else could I have done? My landlord is friends with one of my good friends' families. That's how I got the flat. I'm terrified he is going to tell them and they'll think I'm some kind of freak.
Pretty damn embarrassing. Went to Rome a few months ago. Ate so much gelato. Ate non-stop for basically 7 days straight. Long story short, I had a bad stomach ache. Went to the bathroom for a number 2. Didn't happen. Damn this constipation. Stood up, pulled my short back up and flushed the loo. Needed to fart. Pretty harmless. Farted. Shat all down my legs, all over the loo and all over the floor. My so heard me say, "Man, that's disgusting," and walked into the bathroom. Saw the mess. Saw my disgusted, sad face. Laughed at me for about 30 seconds and helped my clean up after. She's a keeper.
High school, junior year. First day of class. Teacher walks in. It's an old wrinkly guy with a stash. A little weird looking. His shirt is only tucked in on one side. Everyone is just getting the wrong vibe from this guy. Like, he's not all there in the head. He's got a manic look in his eyes. He's creepy. He starts going through attendance, not looking up the whole time. Then he gets to my name, starts to say it, then stops. Looks up, scans the room, looks directly at me. "Ah, Mr. 102,194, I'm glad you're here. How's your family? Is your little sister still playing the piano? Is that model ship still on your dresser? Is your room still blue?" I'm shocked, mortified. I can't find the words to respond. This creeper has just described my family, and the fucking room I sleep in at night. Ah, of course it is. It's only been what? A week. Then he goes back to attendance. Panic swirted that day. But anyway, the next day I find out the old crazy guy is my uncle's best friend, and they and my dad decided to pull a prank on me for my first day. The teacher wasn't so crazy looking the rest of the year. He shaved the pedostache, which he grew specifically for the prank, apparently, dressed better, stopped making his eye twitch, etc. I have to admit, it was a good prank, even if I was terrified of being murdered for a day or two.